Hey everyone, welcome back to the Improv TX Comedy Network. If this is your first time checking out the podcast network, we appreciate it. Please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give the Improv TX Comedy Network a like. And just a reminder, the Improv TX Comedy Network is live on YouTube with all your favorite comedians on the improv stage. All links can be found in the description. And with that, on to the podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Act Out from open mic to the big stage. Comedians tell us how stories were made. Today I'm here with a very special comedian. He's one of my favorite people to watch on stage, and the reason why is he doesn't give a flying He literally will say very intellectual jokes that are very controversial, and I love that. Very sardonic personality. Just really, it's a good time.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. So today we are with Shiva Ary. Shiva, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. That came out sardonic.
I love that.
I've never heard somebody describe me like that, but I get, you're not wrong. I'm a little, sometimes, I'm stupid as shit on stage too, but yeah, some of my jokes are smart.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
You talk about race relations in a way that is super intelligent.
Thanks.
And so whenever you say the jokes and people might be offended at first, you always buy it back. And the other thing is you're super self-deprecating.
Yeah.
So you'll be on stage and you'll say something like, I
hate myself.
Yeah, exactly. What was the thing you said? Like, oh, I don't like that either. That cracked me up. I can't remember what the joke was, but you're like, oh, I don't like that either. You're right. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But
so, it might have been just a throwaway.
Yeah, but but that's your personality on stage. It's
all meaningless. Yeah.
But it's hypnotic though at the same time. So whenever you're watching
staring into the void can be hypnotic. Yeah, you can get used to it after a while. You're like, man, that's pretty dark.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about where that sense of humor comes from because I'm very curious. But how long have you been doing comedy?
Coming up on 8 years, I think, in March.
8 years?
April 1st, technically, 2015.
Wow. 8 years. Where'd you get started at?
First time. Okay, it's kind of weird because I kind of started the week before at Backdoor, which is a local club, great club with Linda Stogner.
And once again, a clean club.
Yes.
So I'm interested in how that went.
Dude, I wasn't even supposed to go up, and then they threw me up at the end because you're supposed to sign up the week before. So I just had gone up, and I was just kind of flailing around. And then April 1st is when I went to a place that they said I could do stand-up and do it, and that was at Hyenas in Dallas. And it was terrible. It was really bad. I recorded the first 50 sets of mine ever doing stand-up, and I was trying to watch them one time, and I was heavy on drugs, and I could not still watch it. I was on Molly trying to watch this, being I could look at this in a positive light.
The happiest drug in the world,
still was disgusted by it. Still, I felt disgust, and I was like, dude. So nobody should be doing anything I'm saying.
Yes, don't do it.
By the way,
don't do it. But it's an interesting story, and I kind of want to get into that real quick. What were you like when you were younger? Were you the funny kid? Were you always kind of saying? You always have a comeback, it seems like. Were you always like that?
I grew up with 3 sisters.
Okay.
So I think that's where a lot of it comes from. I couldn't use my violence. I had to use my words more.
Well, that's good.
But
perfect.
There's an age gap and stuff. I don't know where. I mean, I was funny, but I don't think I was you know what I mean? I guess it was a bit of a defense mechanism growing up where it was making people laugh and stuff. Definitely got a couple girls' attention because of it, so probably that a little. I was always kind of sad, so I think the humor kind of maybe helped people deal with my sadness maybe more kind of deal. So I think maybe it came from that. My parents fought a lot, and it was I ended up kind of using humor to engage with them or to diffuse situations and shit. And then my because I can be kind of angry on stage. Mm-hmm. That was to get them to stop fighting with each other and then fight on me. So using humor and kind of fucking anger, I kind of avoided a lot of bad situations.
Well, that's where your sense of humor comes from then. It's not a nice combination, but it works. You know what I mean? I like how you said
and sometimes it does not work, and then people, I
like that. Dude, that's my favorite, though. I have seen video of you, and I've seen you on stage where you actually go after the audience a little bit, and I know you felt bad about it, but it's funny, though.
Yeah.
And so that I said, you're so quick with the comeback, always.
I think I've just maybe learned how to bomb gracefully compared to how I used to bomb. I think that's the difference, where it's
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't bomb though that often. I've seen.
I lose crowds though a lot in my set, where then I get them back or I lose them.
But that's a talent in and of itself. Like
It's
one of those things where Bill Burr, that famous incident where he was at the football, or he was talking about the football team, and he bombed in Philadelphia, and then he bought the audience.
Yeah,
back.
that's a great feeling though when you get them back. Yeah, and it's the most fun. I mean, I don't want to be the guy that's just like laugh, 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 laugh. Like I want to make you feel some emotions. And to be honest, if you should not like everything I'm saying on stage. Yeah. There needs to be a part that you're like, I don't know about that. And I'm not even trying to make people think, but the logic builds the tension, and then I can surprise them.
Oh, that's genius too, yeah.
So it's just like, oh, this guy's being serious about this thing, and then I end it with like, some stupid shit. That's my closer now. It's just,
just the fart noise.
Actually, I've been getting more sexual on stage, which is weird.
Yeah?
Yeah, just talking about sex more, which is nice. It's kind of interesting.
Do you feel like that kind of frees you from, like, some kind of binds of sexuality?
I think maybe because I'm Indian, or just, that kind of culture where it's like talking about sex on stage is a little interesting for me. And
so it's kind of taboo subject?
I guess from childhood, like, it was kind of a little repressed. We're kind of like Catholic or whatever. Yeah, it's been more interesting stuff. Because I do like the race stuff, but I feel like I'm kind of over milking it. I don't want to be just the race comic. And then I have also my other past history, which I'm sure we'll get into. But,
sure. I think it leads into how you found comedy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, let's talk about that because it's interesting. So, you were previously an addict.
What?
I don't know if this is true or not.
Who told you that?
I don't. I've heard rumors. That's what I'm saying. So, you struggled with addiction for a time. And I've also struggled with addiction too.
Sure.
So I went
super common.
I went through pill phases in my life where I was like, let's pop whatever I can get my hands on and have a good time. You were doing stuff a little bit harder than that.
Yeah.
So how did that lead into comedy? So were you in a dark place at that time?
Yeah.
And were you medicating to kind of deal with your childhood and like all that stuff?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, and I do minimize things, but my childhood wasn't bad. Like it wasn't good, but I love my parents now. It took a long time to come back around to that. Yeah. But no, I was addicted to heroin. I talk about it on stage a lot. And it took up like 10 years of my life. And then some of that was childhood. Some of that was life. Some of it was poor decision making. Because, like drugs kind of saved my life in a certain sense. And then it ruined it.
Right.
But like initially, I probably would have killed myself if I didn't find drugs.
Yeah, I was in the same space where I was always medicating my feelings because I had so much mental illness, and now I'm properly medicated for it. But before, I was just looking for anything I could put in my system to make me feel different.
Yeah,
and I didn't know what I was searching for, and it was actually through serendipity that actually finding out I was ADHD.
Nice,
and I actually needed a low dose of Adderall to deal with the day.
Yeah.
So there's something to looking for, and like you said, it saved your life. If it could have been suicide, or it could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been, let's try this.
I usually tell people, it's like, if you're going to kill yourself, you really need to try heroin first. Like, just before you kill yourself, dude, like, at least they'll buy you, like, 3 months.
Yeah,
you know
there
what
you
I'm
go.
saying? Like, yeah.
And then it'll be terrible after that. But
you
can always get more.
You were already going to kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry. I keep swearing. I'm more used to just be
yourself. Don't worry about it.
Well, I don't know how to do that, Ducky. Okay, I'm wearing masks on stage, okay? I don't know who I am as a person.
You said you were wearing masks on stage?
Like, you wear masks. Like, if I'm feeling I have to perform and be, like, shucking and jiving. So,
damn.
I was addicted to that for a while. And then, I was just lost. And then I kind of, like, had an epiphany about life. And then a week later, I started stand-up. I just had this drive to do stand up and to talk to people.
So what happened? What was the switch? What was the key?
I would say it was like, it's kind of lame, but it's like, it was kind of a spiritual moment or something. I'm not really religious, but I'm a bit more spiritual. And I think previously before that, I just believed in nothing. And then after that moment, it was like, it's not like I believed in God, but it was like I was open to that possibility more so than before. And it just, I don't know, it was just a weird pivot.
So why comedy at that moment? Would you always wanted to do it?
Connecting with people. Like, I realized because, like, as an addict, or every time I've seen addicts, it's usually kind of an isolation thing, where it's like, even if they're around people constantly, it's like they're just in their head, or just totally by themselves.
Yeah,
so.
It's a wonderful bubble that you put on sometimes when you take drugs of any kind, where you just feel like in a cocoon of comfort and highness. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's
But even what drives you there is like when that person was sober, they're like either they're human averse, like they had bad social interactions where it's like they don't want to connect, like because you get so many like after being on drugs and now kind of being sober, and I'm not even fully sober. I don't prescribe to the AA stuff or whatever, but like, and I still have some issues like sometimes with drinking and stuff, but I'm managing it, and that's a whole different conversation.
Well, how did it lead to comedy? Were you looking at comedy since you were a kid? Did you always enjoy it, or was it just?
I was a musician, and then I just wanted to go. Like music didn't really work out because like I couldn't really form those relationships, and then comedies was like it's a one-man show, so it's like, which I guess I could have done that with music, but I think I'm more sensitive about my music, where I'm like, this is kind of more for me than other people, and then comedy's just like I love talking, so it's like it's a great way to do it. Oh no, that was what I was saying with the addiction, with the isolation. It's like you get so many like kind of chemical good feels from social interactions when you have them properly. Right. You know what I'm saying? And most addicts I know just never get those kind of feel good things because they just don't have good reactions, because either people know they're an addict and kind of stigmatize them, which is a little understandable, but still, or, people are also addicts and then they're going through their own bullshit. So it's just like, that's like the big thing I've learned coming to stand up. And the thing is, I'm not really good with talking with people. So stand up kind of gives me like this, like pretty much shot in the veins social interaction that would be a lot more difficult if I wasn't doing stand up. So
did you know that the networking was part of it? Because that's usually something that you learn later. You know what I mean? Yeah. So. And you network with everyone. I think you've been on
nice to everybody.
You've been on like every podcast that I've seen. Yeah. Like I mean, a ton of them.
I mean, I also talk to some people that don't like me, but usually my talking's I try to do it with love. If that makes sense. And then
don't burn those bridges. It's not.
I mean, I was not liked when I first started.
Really? What?
Yeah, very much hated.
What, just because of your comedy stylings or your
probably
personality?
Also I was kind of personality. I'm coming off drugs, and I'm kind of still on drugs.
Yeah.
And, like at the time, like I'm talking about like methadone at least. And then, I think I was still using heroin occasionally. There was an overlap with that, but then like it just became like this upward march to being a little more whatever health, what I mean? Like not that healthy, but a little more stable.
Did comedy help you come out of that then?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I have a joke about it that I don't really do, but it's like comedy did save me from heroin a little bit and taught me to become an alcoholic. So that's So it's not like
it's not untrue.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
I mean, I have been drunk. I don't know. So I get mixed reviews about me being drunk on stage, where some people love it, some people hate it.
I'm not saying do it, but I was a fan. I actually enjoy it because, like I said, you get a little bit feisty with the audience.
Yeah.
And like. You will call them out for not laughing, or you just, somebody
I'm
says
more playful.
Something.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, you always have a comeback. Where's that come from? Do you have like ADHD?
That's probably the sisters, where it's like they were talking and it's like had to, and then also my parents used to argue, like I was saying, sometimes even with me, where it's like, I'm probably always going at like 70.
That's what I was wondering.
Even though I'm kind of chill. Yeah.
So the first time you went on stage, what was it like?
Like a drug. It's pretty much adrenaline rush. I remember first starting out, and it would be like I would get maybe one chuckle or something, but I would like hold on to that and be like, all right, that was something, even though the rest of it sucked. And then, the next night, even with that joke, I wouldn't get the chuckle, or it'd be something else. And then it was just the same thing, where it was like after a certain point, and then once you get like a huge crowd and you get a huge laugh, it feels like coke and heroin, pretty much. Like the coke walking up stage, and then once you get everybody to laugh, it's like it envelops you with
speedball. Yeah.
It's a very like up, down, and then and then once you get them in the palm of your hands, it's really fun. Where it's like you can make them feel bad, you can make them feel good, and it's just it's just like it's like lion taming, pretty much at a certain point. I like a rowdy crowd. I'm not, the hardest crowd for me is the supportive crowd. Because then I'm like, there's expectations. Like, I want the no expectations, this guy sucks kind of attitude of a crowd compared to, we're all here to have a fun time and laugh. I get weird.
I've never heard the inverse of it, because a lot of people want that supportive crowd,
Oh, man,
and with
crowd.
You love it so because you can mess with them.
Yeah. You just start poking the bear, and you're like, "Come on, dude, what you got?" I'm a little bit of or this has been changing too. I'm a little bit of a bully lately on stage. I don't love it, but it is fun, dude. It's a lot of fun.
It makes it so much fun to watch, too.
It does. Unless you're not into that, and then it's like terrible. Then people are like, why is that guy picking on people?
No.
But if like I insult an audience member and then they insult me back, that's like, that's love. That's love. That's not us hating each other.
Well, one of my biggest fears is the heckler, and I've been heckled before. It's fine. You get over it.
Yeah.
But you almost invite that.
Bro. Yeah, that's why a lot of places don't book me too, because like, if the headliner doesn't want to deal with that kind of shit.
Yeah, because it does flow over. Once you open the door for hecklers, they're going to continue to talk. So the safety bubble has been popped.
I do a lot of things that over my career, like swearing on stage, talking. I'm not even like fully a crowd work guy, but I'll dip in and out, and I would love to talk more to the audience because let's be honest, none of these people would ever fucking talk to me on the street. Like, this is their only interaction with whatever, an ex-heroin addict, fucking Indian guy. And don't get me wrong, like, I also went to college when I was 16, so I don't like myself like I'm a complete loser, but I'm definitely partially a loser, and it's like this is their window into that kind of life.
Yeah. And perspective, too. A lot of comics deal with mental illness, substance abuse. Also, they live a life that's amazing. You hear these stories, and you go, wow, you really lived a life. That's why I don't look back on the times that I did drugs and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I go, well, that was a hell of a lot of fun.
Sure.
Smoking cigarettes. I loved smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
I'll probably get cancer for saying that, but the truth is, I loved it. Every cigarette I had was amazing. And then when I finally had to quit, I was like, time is up.
Yeah.
It's the same way with the drugs. Eventually, the time was up.
Now you're making me want to smoke a cigarette.
All right, well, it is your show right now, so let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So you go on stage first time, you get the rush. Mm-hmm. What's it like the first time you get booked to host a gig?
Man, I don't even fully remember. How I kind of got in was I was here. I was like in stand-up, just doing it every day. Pretty much you have to just do it every day kind of deal. Or you at least have to like ingratiate yourself in the scene, which I did not. I was more of a pariah. But I was tenacious. Like I kept hanging out there even though nobody liked me kind of shit. And I kept going up on stage. And then some of those people moved, and that's great, and they're doing fine, and I hope the best for them. But then, like, eventually I started working at Plano Hyenas. My buddy John got me the job there because he was cooking, and then I was cooking there, and then they would sometimes throw me up on stage.
Nice.
If somebody, but it was terrible in the sense, like, I had mozzarella sticks on me. Just up on stage. Like, I cooked all you guys' food and stuff. But, there were some really big crowds there where you get that huge pop where you're like, holy that's something. And then eventually I just started hosting, I think. And then that took forever. They kept me as a host for a long time. It's been like a really slow climb for me. And in some ways that's been the best in the sense compared to like everybody loves me automatically. Which nobody loves me now. But you know what I'm saying? Like enough people like me kind of deal.
Well, that kind of probably builds the kind of that attitude you have on stage though too, and the confidence, because you have pure confidence when you get up there.
Thanks.
So doing that, because it's hard to be vulnerable because you're yourself on stage.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of give that over to the audience, like you're talking about, the substance abuse and your family and stuff like that. That's difficult stuff to talk about, but on stage you would talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're talking about sexuality now.
Yeah. Part of it was even just because of like a lot of the things in my life kind of worked out perfect for stand-up. So like playing music, learning rhythm and stuff like that, or like pitch and tone of my voice. That helps in stand-up. I used to wait tables. So that's like going up to just strangers and just kind of opening the door. So that taught me that. I used to do door-to-door sales, which that sucks.
I can't even imagine.
But kind of the same thing where you're like showing up at some dude's door and trying to get them to buy shit, which I did a couple times, which was crazy that it even worked that much, where it's like all of that. And then rehab. I used to have to talk about my feelings in front of a group of strangers all the time, or in an AA. So it's like all those things combined together give you my stand-up act in a certain sense, where I'm like, yeah, I can talk about my feelings, or I can kind of sell you on if I want to, or I can, I can take your order.
I kind of like that what you say. It's not manipulating the audience, but it's controlling the audience.
Yeah.
So you're able to go in and kind of go like, I want you to feel this emotion right now, and I want you to feel this emotion. I never even considered that in a performance. It is all emotions.
Yeah, it's more because if it was just straight, and some comics are this, and they're great and stuff. That's just right, like word for word joke. Where it's like, I could read this joke and it is funny. But it's like, there's so much in stand-up that's not that, which it's weird. I still love the written stuff, but it's like, there's so much more than that in stand-up. There's just something about, because I also do improv, which is gay as but
it sucks when you do improv because you have to say that. It's required.
Yeah, if you're a stand-up, I'm probably going to get kicked off the team.
You are. You're done. You're out.
But yeah, it's interesting. And I actually kind of like the improv people because they're super nice. It's a whole different culture where it's like everybody's nice to each other. It's nice in a certain sense, but then also like I love coming to stand-up and being like, F*** you. You too.
Well, that's so funny. We would go to improv classes over at Stomping Grounds.
Nice.
And then come to here and do open mic, and just going from being like, everyone's like, yeah, you got this, do this, to everyone's being a comic, kind of like, my jokes are better than yours.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
And it's weird how it's not supported, because you think you'd walk in the room and everyone's laughing. But what's fun is when you get somebody at an open mic or the show or whatever's going on, and they switch the audience. Something about that one comic, they come on and the timing's right, the jokes are hitting, tone is there, the performance is immaculate.
Yeah.
And the room changes.
Yeah.
And you can see that at shows too.
Yeah.
And the inverse can happen too. You can bring down a show.
A lot of that is confidence, and then also just like being able to stay in the pocket if the joke doesn't go well. Because a lot of comics break just because it's like, they don't.
And the audience can see that.
And maybe my perspective, and this is like a lot of comics in playing getting into comedy, they, lost status in their life. Like they had a decent job and then doing this. But this was a move up. This was like heroin addict, stand-up comic. It's like this was a promotion, if anything, And there's actually a lot of similarities. Instead of now chasing drug dealers, I'm chasing bookers.
Yeah, dude, it's a full-time
I'm sucking
job.
dick for stage time.
Yes.
It's fucking
You got to get
annoying.
out there, you got to get on your knees, and you got to suck that dick, all right? If you want to perform.
Or lick the clit. There are female bookers too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They can be bookers also.
And they're hot, that's all I'm going to say.
Some of them.
Hey everyone, it's just Stuck jumping in to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you dig it, please head over to our website at improvtx.com, where you can check out our calendar for all the upcoming shows in Addison, Arlington, Houston, and San Antonio. And don't forget to follow our social media, all links in the description. And with that, back to the podcast.
What was it like the first time you headlined? What was that like?
I wouldn't even say I've ever headlined technically.
You have. You've headlined
I know I have,
a friend
but that's
show
not,
here.
That's cool. Like, yeah, that's sometimes difficult. I've also done some like 325 shows where I'm ending. Oh, dude, one time I did a 325 show and I had to follow Linda Stogner and then Ben Creed, and I'm like, dude, I should not be ending this show, man. Like, this is ridiculous. I probably failed a little. I think I did fine, but I remember being like, those are the comics. Dude.
Seasoned comedians have been doing it for a long time. Yeah, that would have been totally nerve-wracking.
I just have so much respect, especially Ben Creed too. He's another comic.
So you were saying when you began, people didn't really like you, but it sounds like you've
I could have maybe also been projecting. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure people didn't like me. I'm pretty sure, yeah. And I still think people are like a little whatever. You just got to be nice to people. Well, this is my family. This is like how I look at it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the best even to my real family, but it's like I try to be more like understanding about people because we're all mentally ill. Like stand-up comedy's full of a bunch of like hardcore feminists and hardcore incels, and we're all trying to get along. It's crazy. Crazy.
It's so true,
though.
Yeah. And then you get on stage and say something that,
and then
throws
the
you
hardcore feminists are like, what the f***? And then those like, but I think like there can be something because I love first of all, I do love on women, but I love when women are able to on men too, and it's like I think we're just supposed to each other here, and that's how we find love. Yeah, it's just like I hate you, you hate me. We got to dig through the shit to find love.
No, it's so true. Did you come up with that? That's genius, dude.
What?
That
incels
and feminists. Yeah. Dude, that's so funny.
And I like the hardcore feminists, dude. Most of the girls I've dated in stand-up were kind of that. And I'm
probably wild.
I wasn't really getting some of them. Yeah. I don't need to
I'm
kiss
telling
and tell.
You. Yeah, comics.
Or eat and tell. You know what I'm saying? That's how the new generation does it.
They are into that. It's so wild.
I can do that.
Yeah. You can get down?
I can take it or leave it. Yeah, I don't need it, but yeah. It's good I don't need it.
What was the weirdest thing you ever saw on stage? What was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you during a show?
Oh, bro, it was here. I don't know if I should say it, but I love the dude. Marcus Garvey.
What did Garvey do?
He took a beer bottle and poured it down his pants up right here. Yeah. It was crazy. Dude, it was crazy.
Why would he do that?
And then the headliner just talked shit about him for fucking like 3 because the guy was hosting. I don't know, because Mark is a wild dude.
Yeah, he is.
And it's
That's
funny shit I've ever seen. I don't think the audience liked it, but I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
But that's the other thing too, is we've seen comedy so much that it's the weird.
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
for me, what's funny is the in between moment. Somebody will say something that's like the twist.
You can see inside them a little bit.
Yeah,
you're like,
and,
oh, I know what he's doing.
Or
like,
if they try out a tag on stage for the first time, you're like, oh, that was new. I know that was new. Because I can tell by the way they said it. They were even shocked by it. And that's the stuff that gets me. Everything else I can appreciate, writing and, like you said, timing and all that, breathing even, you know.
But those, it's just like what makes, you know, I mean, some people hate crowd work, but it's what makes crowd work so special is, you know. And don't get me wrong, you can kind of do like more low-hanging fruit crowd work, but sometimes, like yesterday at the open mic, I found out one of the audience members was there to meet his dad.
For the first time?
Who's one of the comics. So I'm not going to say his name.
Yeah. Let's not put that out there.
Yeah, but it was like, what the hell is going on? Like, who's meeting at a comedy club? I mean, it's a comic, obviously, and, you know.
But did you roast him at the same
I
time?
didn't. Yeah,
that's a hard roast.
I was drunk at that point. I was done with the night. So, I don't know. Yeah, drinking on stage. And that's what I love about this thing, too, where it's like, yeah, it can go bad, man, but it's like one of the few jobs where it's like being drunk on stages. It's one of the few jobs where it's like performing enhancing drugs is a good thing. So.
Well, there's people with the train of thought too of don't take anything and go on stage.
Sure, totally understandable.
And there's also the inverse. You know, you got the Bill Hicks perspective where he was on everything. You know, he went through a phase where he would be so drunk on stage he'd just lay off of it. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So it's one of those things where drugs and comedy go hand in hand, 100%. And it is a rush, and it's a rush on top of a rush.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I told you earlier, you know, I'm prescribed medical marijuana, so I'm never truly sober.
Sure,
you know?
I get
so
that.
It's
I mean, a lot of sober people are like on caffeine, like mother and like nicotine, and it's like
15 Red Bulls a day.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, like you're not doing heroin. That's good. Like I know it, but it's just it's a weird disconnect.
You're playing with a heart attack, is what you're doing with that.
Sure.
With the Red Bull.
Yeah.
What's your writing process like? How do you sit down, do long form, type on a computer, or anything like that?
I've been trying to write more, but mainly I just kind of let my mind wander, and then I just write shit in my phone, and then I look it up. I'm better at getting the ideas. I'm terrible at organizing. So it's like my problem. Like I'm sure I have probably like at least 10 minutes of really good material on my phone, but I don't know where it is, kind of deal. It's like if I have the idea, maybe I can. What I do like about the phone is I kind of keep thinking of the same idea where it's like sometimes I'll lose it, but then right before going on stage, I'll be like, what's a funny joke? And then I'll think of something that I'm angry at, and then I'll remember the joke, and then I'll be able to search it up on my phone and then kind of do it on stage. And then some of it's on stage and stuff. And some of my better jokes, though, I'm thinking them out. And then a lot of the other stuff, like, because I do like a little bit of crowd work, so you kind of have to be in the moment. And then, you know, you'll figure out little kind of paths where it's like, if I say this, the crowd's going to say like pretty much these 3 things, and then just have something for each thing, and then
right on. That's so you kind of pre-program to the responses.
And I can there's always like that 4th option where it's just like you kind of have to just be open, and in a sense actually doing improv helps in that sense. So then I'm
even though it's gay,
it is.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
But no, I personally think improv is amazing. Like
when it's good.
Yeah. When you get into a flow with somebody, or like you have a couple partners on stage, and you get up there, and the players just play off each other. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing that always bums me out about improv is it's so in the moment, and then it's gone, unless it's recorded. With comedy, we get to try things over and over and over again until we perfect it. You know what I mean?
But then also with stand-up, there's still a little improv where it's like you can't always go to the joke the exact same way. Like there is a little bit of improv where it's like if the crowd doesn't laugh at this joke, then I can't really steer back into that joke the same way I usually do, where it's like I might have to come from a different angle a little bit. Especially with my jokes, because some of the jokes will lose him, so I'm always kind of like, you know.
It almost sounds like it's like a little game to you. Like
100%. And I like it more like that, because if I'm going up there and I'm doing like my script, I'm going to be bored. And by the end, I'm going to just be drunk all the time, because I can do it drunk, so I'm just going to be bored. And,
with my set, I have the same thing where I'm like, I can have a couple drinks and I can still go through it. You know what I mean?
But then it's autopilot. I don't have fun on stage, and like they can see that. And then, you know, I lean more on the writing, and that's great.
What advice do you have to up-and-coming comedians?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Dude. Honestly. I love being on stage, man, but it's a lot. It's a lot. The offstage stuff. But if you love being on stage, man, yeah, you're going to keep doing it. It's like, yeah, I love doing heroin. That's why I kept putting myself in situations for it. This is kind of the same thing.
So if you love it, you'll continue to chase it like a drug.
Yeah. Yeah,
it is like a drug.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It is like a drug, though. The adrenaline rush is something else.
Yeah.
Like, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced.
And I'm not trying to be like you have to be up to do stand-up, but it's like to deal with the you have to have a enough life that the reward from stand-up is worth even the more up that's happening to you because of stand-up. Some of it's not even stand-up's fault. Like, it's not like the culture. It's just like, dude, going on the road and just being by yourself for, 4 or 5 days. And you're just like, all right. And you're just stuck in a room. And then, you do 10 minutes of, you pretty much get taken out of your cage, do 10 minutes of dancing, and then go back in your cage. And you're like, that was really fun. But then you're stuck at home and you're like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, some of the cultures too, because it's entertainment. Like, there's always going to be like some shadiness just because so many people are involved and so many people want to do this and stuff. I think, don't do stand-up. You shouldn't. You should really, like, if you can find something that makes you happy that's not stand-up, that's probably the best. Or really, dude, just go make your friends laugh. If you can make your friends laugh, I don't have any friends, so I have to get strangers to do that. Like, I would love to have friends to make laugh, which I created through stand-up, which that's kind of interesting.
A ton of friends.
They're all stand-up comics.
Yeah.
The
best friends and the worst friends.
And I know all those would leave me the second I quit stand-up. So it's just it's the same thing. I mean, to a degree. But it's like, it's like, this is our AA meeting. That's how I look at it. It's like, you got to come here. And like, I'm kind of friends with comics out of it. But the main thing is like, you come to church or whatever,
Do you view it as an art form?
Yeah, it's an art form. I mean, it's pretentious to call it that, but it's like, it is, yeah. And, especially now more so because it's like you can kind of put, and back to gay improv and stuff, but improv taught me a little bit more to put more emotion into it, which I kind of have been. And it's like, stand-up now, you can kind of put some more, like, sympathy emotions, not too much, because you don't want the crowd just, like, feeling like, but it's like you can use those emotions to your advantage.
I didn't even think about that because, like, thinking back on your sets, it's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah,
like, you'll go up here and you'll tell a joke and they get a big laugh, and like you said, then
and I never know how the roller coaster ride is. Like, I'm trying to make it the same roller coaster ride, but it's like there's always a part where it's like, oh crap, the tracks are broken here. Yeah. And then it's like, we got to fix this before we hit that.
And then if you hit it, you got to look at the mess, and then you always come back from that.
I'm like, I'm so sorry that your kids died on that roller coaster. I will try not to do that next time.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Man, I don't know, because it's like part of me wants to be one of those comics that like stay in their hometown and like build from here. Part of me wants to move to Austin because that's just right there.
And right now it's kind of like the mecca of comedy.
I'm waiting for that to fizzle out first. And then, because there's so many comics down there where I'm like, Or maybe just straddle the two, Dallas and Austin. I don't. It's really, I'm an open book. It's gonna be, because I didn't think I'd be here like in 8 years. I thought at least I would move to New York, but then when COVID hit and a huge scene moved to Austin, that was like perfect. So then it's like, all right, I'm gonna stay here. And now I'm doing better in the scene, like featuring and kind of headlining one-nighters and stuff, where it's like I have to make a decision probably in the next year or something to do something, but I don't really know.
Do you want to be a full-time comic then, or do you
this is it. Yeah, my life too much. Yeah. This is, it's either this or death a little bit.
Oh, wow. So
you know what I mean. I mean, I talk to me in 6 months, I'm working at the gas station, but and I'll be like, I don't know. Yeah, this just seems to be, I'm not really good at hyping myself up, but I'm not bad at this, where I'm like, I think I could do this. And you don't see too many, I mean, here there's too many Indian comics, but you don't see too many Indian comics. And I love that here too. But so it's like, I think I have a shot. So we'll see. And I got a unique backstory, heroin, that's cool.
Well, I mean, on top
everybody
of that,
loves heroin addicts.
Your performance, like, you just talking about it right now, like, I see so much of what you said and it makes it unique and hypnotizing.
Thank you.
Watching you, because like you said, and
I'm an infinite well of sadness. I tell people
you're definitely one of the most vulnerable comedians I've ever seen on stage. Because, because
okay.
you're able to actually break that down and be like, here I am.
Huh.
Let me tell these jokes. And it's really, like I said, it's a talent to have that, because I struggle with a personality on stage. I don't really have one. And so when I see somebody who has a complete confidence to be their self, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. So
I mean, you're just ripping off Shucky Ducky, right? That's
that's my thing.
That's your thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Quack, quack, everybody.
How did you get that name, Ducky?
So when I was a baby, I used to my diapers, then they would sag, and it looked like I had a duck butt, so they called me Duck. Not a sexy story, I know.
I bet you still in your diapers today.
Dude, I pants last week. I'm not even gonna lie.
Did you?
No.
Okay. Okay, I could have believed it.
Yeah, no, it was 2 weeks ago.
Do you ever just pants just for
like
fun. Nostalgia? And you're I kind of do have a duck butt.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Do you have any shows coming up? Anything going on in the next?
I think I'm at Little Rock. I am. Little Rock, Looney Bin. 25th through the 20th. You got a lot of listeners in Little Rock?
No.
Okay. And then I'm doing your guys' show. Might as well do that since it's Addison. I'm glad I'm so cool that they let you put the thing in there, because I know, like, for the open mic. Remember when I first started, they didn't cover it, and then you'd see a bunch of people saying they worked at improv. It was hilarious. And then one day I came there and it was down. I was like, I was part of the problem there. I did that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they don't want people thinking that. You're right. So
yeah, it's funny.
But
like, it's cool. That
it looks great though.
It does. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm doing improv. I don't think I'm the main guy, but it's an Anne Friend show. Come out, good show.
Yeah. The Anne Friend shows are the best.
Yeah.
You get the best of the local talent coming out and doing what they do best.
I mean, I prefer working the weekend here more so.
Hint.
Billy.
Yeah, Billy,
Jay,
we're talking to you.
Jay.
We got to do socials real quick. Facebook.com/Shiva7Re. Instagram /Shiva7Re.
Yeah, Shiva7Re.
And then TikTok @FartCasso.
I can't believe you found that. I don't even do shit. By the way, like, I need to actually do something with my social media. Like, I need to revamp that, because it's like Shiva7Re. That's a terrible. But it's like that was the only one. There's a Shiva. I made up the last name. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Wait, Shiva Ary not your real name?
No.
Really?
No, it's not. Yeah. Well, Shiva's technically not my real name, but I've always been called Shiva.
Okay.
So my real name's Shivansh, and then my last name I'm not gonna tell
the government doesn't need to know what's going on.
Yeah. You'll never find me. Yeah. I'm fucking off.
So why? But is there a certain reason you did a stage name?
Last name was really long, and people just butchered it. And it's a pretty common name, and it's actually real funny because I changed it to Ari to shorten it to make it easier for people, and people that up all the time.
It, yeah.
They say Ary, Avery.
Yeah.
I get that one sometimes.
Avery?
Yeah, dude. People are dumb.
It's missing a lot of letters to be that. Everyone.
Yeah. And it's just easy, too, and it's like, I don't know, maybe I'll Jamie, Gravy, Joe Coffee it back to my real name.
Dude,
or
Shiva Ary's great, dude.
I like him. And Ari's Jewish, and, Jews run comedy, so yeah, it's all good, man. You gotta look it up.
Do you want to end it with what you said earlier?
Yeah. Sure. Call back.
It's not going to be there, so.
Man. Okay, that's fine.
Well, Shiva, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Ducky. Yep.
And everyone out there, please support local comedy in any way, shape, or form you can. And with that said, we will see you on the next one.
And there it is. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please head over to improvtx.com to check out all our upcoming shows at the Addison, Arlington, Houston, and San Antonio clubs. If you like this podcast, you might enjoy the other podcasts on the Improv TX Comedy Network. We have The Act Out. From open mics to the big stage, comedians tell us the story they've made, where I talk to comedians from all over and chat about their journey this far. Also, check out the Black Dog Retro Arcade podcast. Straight from the arcade, we talk about how our favorite games were made. That's right, we're talking all that video game goodness. And finally, we have Quacking Up, a storytelling podcast where we pick suggestions from a hat and tell stories based upon them. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Please check out our social media, all links in the description. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.